Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Restored to More podcast. We are so excited for our guest today. We have Laurie back on, and it is going to be an amazing time. We're really excited.
Laurie Krieg is the director of parent programs and discipleship at the Center for Faith, Sexuality, and Gender, where she also served as a founding board member. Laurie has a master's in evangelism and leadership from Wheaton Graduate School. Her and her husband, Matt, wrote a book called An Impossible Marriage, where we had them on our podcast a while ago. So if you haven't listened to it, go check it out. Her newest book, Raising Wise Kids in a Sexually Broken World, is incredible. That's what we're really going to be talking about today. They also co host the Hole in My Heart podcast and live in Western Michigan with their three beautiful kids. Laurie, welcome back.
Being with you guys.
Hey. Well,
It's so fun being here. And I think just for our listeners who maybe don't know the passion behind what you do, Laurie, why are you so passionate about this topic and about the work that you do?
I mean, I think so many of us who end up in the sexuality business ministry, it stems from our own story. And I'm no different. I fall into that space. And so the short answer is human sexuality and brokenness. All of us are sexually broken, but I felt mine very palpably, really slammed into it when I was in college, really wrestled with that. I could not find I found a very few people who could be safe places for me to wrestle. But in general, the church was not doing great,
Mm.
specifically with my version of sexual brokenness, which is wrestling with same sex attractions. And so in that season, when I was really wrestling with, do I follow Jesus?
Mm.
I don't even know what that meant. Do I end my life? Do I come out as a lesbian atheist? I was really wrestling. I remember praying, saying, God, if I make it through this, I don't know if I would. Will you help me to be a voice of encouragement for even one other person? And I didn't even write that down. It wasn't like, and this is my line in the sand. And that's when I fell on Jesus. It was literally like, I did not know.
Yeah.
And yet the Holy Spirit used that prayer as a seed to launch what I'm doing today.
Mm.
He got me through, and here I am.
wow.
I love that.
Praise God. Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you find that most, I know I'm getting off our questions here,
No,
but one,
here we
one of
go.
the questions I have is, do you find that most people are scared to have that wrestling with the Lord when they've been raised
Yes,
in the church?
very much. People are very afraid to wrestle with the Lord on either side. Like they might just default to, I feel like
Mhm.
this is right, or I feel like this is wrong. And I have found in that season, really wrestling in our Impossible Marriage book, you hear me really wrestle with the Lord through the same theology with between my heart and my mind and
Yeah.
my soul. You hear the wrestle. Those seasons, God can handle them,
Mm.
and you get stronger.
I love that. Last time we had you on, we were talking to you and Matt about your marriage, and now you've shifted into talking about kids and really equipping parents to be the strongest voice in their kids' lives, and really walk with them in a discipleship way sexually. What,
Yeah.
why did you make the shift? Why pivot? Why kind of talk about this? Why is this so important to you?
Oh boy. like I was about to do my last semester at Wheaton, and I was praying. I was I feel like I'm supposed to write another book. And I was like, Lord, how about something not controversial? I was like, I like to write about maybe identity, general identity, not identity, wink, wink, sexual identity, but just identity. And then I was on the couch journaling. My husband was sitting on the couch across from me. My kids are playing on the floor. And I kid you not, it was like the Lord laid a burden on my heart
Mm.
for my fellow parents. Because it was in that moment, he's like, look at your kids and look at what I've given you. I have given you 10 years in this field. And it wasn't I'm even saying it more snarky than how I felt it. He was so gentle, but strong. And he's like, would you be willing, Laurie, to share what you have been workshopping with your own kids?
Mm.
What do I mean by that? What do you mean by that? Is for the 10 years before I started writing this book and doing the video series that we were talking about that relates to the book, is I'd been in the human sexuality field,
Mm.
equipping a marriage, equipping pastors, and everything I've been teaching out there, I was filtering through my mom brain and translating it into little kid language for my kids.
Yeah.
So the invitation from the Lord was like, would you share this with other moms? And I was like, no. Sexuality biz, that's controversial enough. Like, I don't want to go in mommy world. Like, are you kidding me? Hell hath no fury, like a scared mom. I didn't want more people angry. But that burden from the Lord, like when he puts love in your heart for people, it's hard to run from that. And so it really was love for my fellow scared moms and dads that compelled me to write it.
Yeah.
So good.
I think sometimes we talk about like that love, it breaks our heart, right? There was something that like, oh, your heart was broken over.
Yeah.
And I think, what was that? What do you think makes you the most broken when you look at the families? Is it that they're lost? Is it that they're kind of not sure how to disciple their kids in this broken world? Is it that they're struggling? What do you think is the biggest problem that you're seeing that you are hoping to help with?
FEAR. We're so scared. Like the second you find out you're pregnant, you're just like, we're going to adopt. You're like, okay, so you're going to live in a bubble and you're so scared. And what are you going to eat? What are you going to feed them? And how do you keep them from like, they're like little suicidal gorillas when they're toddlers. They're just trying to like kill themselves every 5 seconds on non-accident. And like, you're terrified. And then you look around and this world is getting scarier and scarier. And you can watch 5 Instagram reels and you're cooked. Like you're done. Like that's done. And if you get the right algorithm fed to you, you're like, okay, well, you're never getting online and you're going to be homeschooled forever.
Yeah.
But then my husband and I, he's a licensed mental health therapist who specializes in human sexuality. We talk to the adult version of hyper sheltered children. So many. Do you know how many addictions they got? Do you think that keeps them from being gay? So we see these like, if kids are like trees, we use this analogy in the book and everywhere. Kids are like trees, the little saplings. What do trees need to grow strong roots? Is they need good soil, good nutrients. And we're okay as parents. We're like, okay, Bible, Jesus, we're doing okay at that.
Yeah.
They also need the right amount of wind to build strong roots. If trees don't have wind, they're going to topple over as they get bigger and bigger from their own weight. So as parents, we're so scared, and I so relate to that. I'm so scared every single day. And we want to hyper bubble shelter them. But if we don't let them experience the world, they're going to fall over from their own weight. And not only that, this is the biggest thing I think parents are forgetting right now, is what are Christians supposed to do? We aren't just supposed to shelter our kids from the world. We're supposed to equip our kids to produce fruit, who share with the world.
Yeah.
And so that's the burden the Lord put on me, is Laurie, address the fear and equip parents to equip their kids to produce fruit to a lost and hurting world. And I have to confront my own fear every day. And by the grace of God, I'm trying to help other parents do the same.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man, I think that's so real.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's me. That's a Christian parent. Like the circles I swim in are like, man, we swim in a lot of circles, right? And so it's like, oh, they're on one hand, there's the parents. They're like, we're only homeschooling. Like, there's no way our kids are ever going to experience that. And then you have the other set of parents that are like, they have to be, in public school, but how do I still disciple them at home? And how do I be intentional with that? And then you have the mix of both. Like, oh, I'm going to do Christian school, but try to expose them so they can still experience the wind, the world, right? Like, because there's that healthy tension. We can't just bubble wrap them as much as I would like to. I'll be the first, I would like to do that. I would like to bubble wrap our kids and be like, yep, nope, that's, you don't have to experience that. But what I hear you saying is like, man, that doesn't actually help them. It doesn't help them flourish. It doesn't help them deal with the things that they're surrounded by.
Right. Nor can we let them just throw them to a hurricane. They will topple over.
Sure.
So there is extremes. And like, my kids, we've confronted both extremes. I have to confront both in me. And it's, wouldn't you love the little Jiminy Cricket with a real live voice telling you what to do every second?
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
We got the Holy Spirit and we can study. But I always say, I'm like, pray, study, and wing it over and over and over till you die.
How do we make that shift? Because I feel like when I read your books and I even talking to you, like there's so much conviction and gentleness, right? Like how have you learned to hold that grace together in conversations and move from fear-based parenting to a gospel-centered discipleship? Like how do you transition that conversation?
Yeah, for parents that haven't made that transition, okay, they're like, okay, identify with that, Laurie. How do I start to make that shift?
And also like, because conviction, we can be like really like, yeah, like we're charged. But when I hear your conviction, there's such a gentleness and there's like
And a
this
wisdom.
truth. Yeah, that's like so from the Lord. And I know you're not perfect. I know you say that multiple times, but like, how did you start to learn how to talk like that with your kids?
Thank you. You're so sweet. And truly, I am not just saying this. I, every single day, am a total basket case. And I have to go to the Lord before I start talking to my kids, before I jump online. And like, God, I'm so scared. I am so needy. Like, you feel so weak. I feel so weak talking to the Lord. But then all of a sudden I have a conversation with my kids. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's like working out. When you feel weakest, you're actually getting stronger. So I am not just giving lip service to prayer. Like, truly, I say to you, take all your fear and your anger and your grief that the world is so broken and your kids are broken and you're broken and you really suck at this job because you do. He's better than you and his strength is made perfect. So start there. That's actually fueling you. That's number one. Number two, when I say study, like I said, pray, study, wing it. Study includes, you don't have to get a PhD in gender to talk to your kids about trans people. Yeah. But you do need to know more than zero.
Yeah.
You do need to know more than like, I don't know, I just feel like it's wrong. Yeah. Like, honestly, it drives people crazy.
Yeah.
When I see the mommy influencers being like, I just want you to know, you just need to like balance love and truth. And I'm like, have you literally ever talked to someone who struggles with this? And then they're like, they have no idea even what the difference between wrestling with gender and same-sex attraction is. And then they're like, 6 million likes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're talking. Please don't talk until you know what you're saying. So please, parents, study. So read, whether it's my book or someone else's book, understand just like basics of this or watch our video series. But the reason, being a little snarky is that you can sound nice without what you just called out is like, where's the grace and the conviction? A reason I have that is I've studied, but have you talked to real human people who have, I bet you guys in your story, you have a lot of grace and ability to talk about people who wrestle with porn or infidelity at any level because A, you've walked it in your own story or you've talked with real human people. I find when I talk to people and actually disciple them, when I know my conviction, when you know what you believe, and then you can walk with people and not be afraid. Like, for example, my friend Kat, she gave me permission to share this. She was going to transition and marry her girlfriend. And she was like, Laurie, I was just walking with her. I was like, Kat, what is it? She's like, Laurie, I just want to get married. Now you can make an Instagram reel about that real quick. I can't believe a girl wants to marry a girl and run away. No, I'm in a real relationship to her. You know what, Kat? Why? Why do you want to get married? I really want a honeymoon. A lot of Christians would back up. No, I'm in a relationship with her. I'm having a discipleship relationship with her. Let's talk. What is it about the honeymoon that you want? Well, I'm actually really tired and I really need a break. Ding, ding, ding. What'd she just tell me? She just told me she needs rest. And you know what I know? She's never going to find it in her girlfriend. She's never going to find true rest anywhere outside of Jesus. Now look, because I understood the gospel, because I understand that everyone's broken and it's just like different versions, I could engage that conversation with curiosity while maintaining sense of self. So what I could say to her is like, hey, Kat, I love you, Kat, and I hear you, but how long is that rest actually going to last? And will it actually satisfy? How do I take that moment with my kids? Hey, do you see that person over there? Yeah, Mom. Why is that girl trying to be a boy? She's really struggling inside.
Mm.
And I know this because A, I've studied it. B, I've walked with people. When you walk with people, you actually have like compassion, which people are so afraid.
Yeah.
So afraid of walking with LGBTQ people because they think it's going to like get on them.
Yeah.
Do you know who that sounds a lot like? The Pharisees judging Jesus. Who do you eat and drink with, Jesus? He's a friend of sinners and loves tax collectors and he's a drunkard. And they said that of Jesus. So, yeah, do you see that person over there? Yeah, Mom, why is that girl trying to become a boy? Well, you know what? I bet when she looks in the mirror and she sees her girl body, I know this because I've studied and because I've walked with people. She looks in the mirror and she sees her girl body. She doesn't feel like her insides and her outsides match. She's struggling inside. But we all struggle with things, don't we, buddy? Yeah, Mom. What do you struggle with, buddy? I want to hit my sister. I want to do this. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Now, what are we going to do? How are we going to love her? Or, well, if she changes, this is first. So the first thing is like explain what's going on with what my kids see. Then I talk about what is God's good design. Then how do we love? So, buddy, okay, if she ever, let's say she's taking medicine right now to try and change her girl body into a boy body. But can she ever actually become a boy? No, Mom. Why not? What's a boy? Boy has a penis. Sorry, I just said the P word. And can help make a baby in a special way. A girl has a vagina and can help get pregnant. Now, what are we going to do? How do we love her? What are we going to say if we ever talk to her? I'm going to tell her that she's not a boy. Nope. We're going to love her and talk to her and pray for her to know Jesus in her places of deepest pain and shame, just like you and I pray for each other. How do I know that? I've studied what wrestling with gender is, and I've walked with people. I've gotten my hands dirty with walking with people that Christians want to protect everyone from. So how do I have compassion and conviction? I'm not afraid of the mess anymore.
Laurie, a part of what I hear you saying, and I think for other people that are listening, going, well, I've never walked with anybody who has that. I don't know what that personal relationship looks like. The other thing that I think about when you share that is that if we've walked through our own mess, we also know how broken we are. But if we haven't, right? If we have just shoved it down, if we have kind of pretended it not to be there, it's so much easier to look at other people's mess and their messiness and their brokenness and to just quickly judge them for it. Right. But I do think that I wonder if another key to this is going, man, if we look at our own mess and our own brokenness, it creates that compassion for other people as well, because like, man, I'm no better than them. Right. It's so easy to look at someone's outward behavior and to not connect it to their inner brokenness, whether they're walking in their same-sex attraction and they're living that out, or they're becoming transgender and they're all those things, and they're out. Because I think that's the hardest part, right? For somebody who is, I don't know if I would call it following Jesus, but would say they're a Christian, and they look at people and they go, well, look, they're just living in their sin, right? Like they're just outwardly pursuing it. They're blatantly going about it. And I think the reality is like, well, I was living in sin, but I was hiding my sin. Right. So I look at someone and go, well, I was living in my sin too. I just was hiding it, where they're just like, oh, this is who I am. And they're not even, they're not even saying they're following Jesus. A lot of times they're like, no, I'm not following Jesus. And I think Christians have a really hard time with that because they haven't owned their own level of brokenness. And I'm wondering if you see that as well. The judgment, the pharisaical actions, like the opinions, how often are those people quick to judge, but have not also grown in their own brokenness or admitted their own areas of needing healing Is that true? I don't know. I'm just
100%.
just wondering about that.
Oh, you're 100% right. Like, when you know the gospel's good news for you, it's so hard to judge people.
Mm,
Like, it's really when you're like, oh, I'm a sinner in need of a savior, and so are they. And this is how I need Jesus, and that's how they need Jesus. Like, it's really hard to judge people
mm,
because you know the ground actually is level at the foot of the cross.
mm.
At the same time, like, it is true, I've had an advantage of walking with LGBTQ people, but if 1/3 of Gen Z identifies LGBT, I do think there's more opportunity for us than we realize.
Mm,
Like, you could just go down to Pride and ask someone their story.
mm.
You could go to the kids at the reject table
Yeah.
in school, right? Like, I don't, what's your story? I had one elderly pastor friend of mine who actually helped found the center. The reason he did is he just went to, walked up to LGBTQ people at a certain event, was like, can I hear your story? I'll buy you coffee. I do.
Wow.
It's hard to find a group of people that are the most like lepers of our day.
Yeah.
Mm,
When it comes to Christianity, Christians engaging LGBTQ people, they're LGBT people are the lepers.
mm. That's so true. You know what? This is really personal. Let me get really personal. So I'm at this yoga. We're doing hot yoga. We're 2 weeks in. Are we 2 weeks in? I think I'm 1 week in. It's changing in my life. It's amazing. My
Everyone
L4,
who does it says
L5.
that.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's so good for my lower back. I'm loving it right now. I've never sweat more in my life, right? Never
Amazing.
in my life have I sweat more and felt better. I every morning I just detox everything I've eaten the day before.
I love it.
And It's phenomenal. But sometimes going to a hot yoga studio is going to be not. I'm not around a bunch of Christian people, right? And so I live in Southern California. It
Mhm.
has other like things on the wall, and I'm like, all right, Lord, how do you want me to process this? And then yesterday I was getting ready, like, hey, by the way, it's June, it's Pride Month. We're so
Mhm.
excited to support, our brothers and
Mhm.
sisters, right? And so I'm like, oh man, Lord, I'm just sitting here and I'm in it. What do you want me to do? Right? What do you want me to do with this right here in this space? And they're excited to like one day out of the month, the proceeds are going to go to supporting a march
Mhm.
they're having. And I am wondering, like, what would you tell somebody like me that's like, Laurie, how should I feel about this? Like here I am, going to a gym that is of the world. It's going to support the things of the world.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm called to live in a bubble and never be around it. I also want to be a light and I want to be different. And so where is I just wanted to have an open conversation about this with you. Like what should my take be? And what would
Mhm.
you tell maybe what would you encourage somebody on doing on how to think about things like that? Um
Mhm.
because I think I'm kind of like, Lord, what do you want me to do here? I think there's an opportunity, right, to be a light,
Yeah.
to be different, and
Yeah.
not to be judgmental. And I'm just,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
I know it's going to take a wisdom of the Lord to tell you exactly because, like, it is hard when you're like, oh, my money's going there. Like, that would
Sure.
be a hard thing.
Yeah.
But then I always think of, is it Naaman, after he was cured of leprosy and he had to go and like bow down to this king. I always think about that. I'm like, Lord,
Yeah.
what's the equivalent? What is it? Is this, are you allowing this for me to, my money to go to this place? That'd be one thing I'd have to pray through.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
second thing is usually us as Christians and myself too, our impulse is like, gasp, Sodom and Gomorrah, do not go,
Yeah.
go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right.
Yep.
And it's just, I can't get over like when I went to Pride and everyone's head to toe covered in rainbow and could not be screaming louder,
Mm,
I need Jesus.
mm,
Like, just because they're yelling at you doesn't mean they're not inwardly screaming and crying out for Jesus. And maybe the ones who are yelling the loudest are actually crying the most for him. And the ones who are the most confident are actually the neediest.
yeah.
So I would be praying and like, Lord, okay, is there anyone here you want me to have conversation with? I'm more like one-on-one conversation girl, as much as I do stage stuff. Stage stuff is not for relationships with people who don't know Jesus. That's for me in this space. But I would just be praying if I was you. All right, Lord, how could I get to know this instructor? Hey, I'd love to hear your story sometime. And you're like, oh no, he's going to think I'm flirting with him. Like, just get over yourself is what I would say. Not you. You're not probably thinking that, but like not everyone's attracted to you. That's what I always want to say to people. Like, come on.
That's super helpful. I think that's so true though. For people that are heterosexual, like, wait, if that guy is gay and I'm talking to him, am I hitting on him? Like, what?
Am I hitting on him? I know. And
how's he going to interpret this interaction? I think that's totally true.
It's so true. And I'm like, that's not up to you. And if he asks, you can be like, no, actually, I'm married, I'm straight, but I truly like, what's your story? How'd you get to be you? But that's going to take the Holy Spirit. Is he has just pinpricked every time I've had conversations with people. It's just like that person. And maybe for the next 6 months, it's you just praying for the Lord to prepare your heart and someone else's heart.
I love that, because I think what you're doing is I hear the verse that says, like, let your convictions be your own. And God's going to convict different hearts in different ways. We have no doubt had many convictions about where we put our money. And in big corporations that are funding things that are totally ungodly.
Trafficking.
Yes. And we're like, okay, we need to pull back here. We need to not invest. We'll find other ways of shopping, even if it's inconvenient, doing these things. And that's been our prayer. I mean, for the people listening, like, oh, well, like, we're praying like, well, Lord, should we invest that money in places that don't have our cause? And that, it might be a little tough to do that with every single dollar ever spent, And so I do think there's also that question, like, Lord, are you convicting me to walk away, or are you convicting me to try to be a light in a place that feels very uncomfortable? Because I will say that right now it's uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable to have these conversations with our kids about sexuality. I mean, recently we just had our talk we started the conversation about really explaining what sex is for our 9-year-old. And it was, it was great. It was uncomfortable. We weren't sure how he was going to react. He had some questions, his reactions were hilarious. I mean, he's like, wait, so your penis goes in mom's vagina? And we're like, yes. He's like, oh, it's disgusting. He's like, but why do you do that? And I was like, talk about that. And so it was really great. And to be honest, like, it was amazing how he responded, and he knew that we were entrusting him with something we wanted to educate him about, but also, like, we should have that talk with his brothers at the time and his friends. Their parents should talk to them about that. And so all in all, it was absolutely incredibly freeing. It was the right move. But I think sometimes we're so drawn to comfort, and that's what I hear you say, right? Like, you're trying to pull parents out of their comfort zone, knowing that, man, discipleship is rarely ever comfortable with people, with our kids, with people that we don't know. And that's what I keep hearing, this theme of what you're saying, Laurie, is like these one-on-one conversations with our kids, with other people, with people in our life that don't share our values. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Trust in this God that is bigger than all of us. Trust in his ability to show us and guide us, and be willing to step into these hard places to have hard conversations where we can kind of bring Jesus into.
It's right. And the comparison you're making to talking to people about Jesus and talking to your kids about God's design is such a good one, because the theme that ties them both together is discipleship. Like, evangelism and discipleship is your kids. God has created them, Imago Dei, through you both. He's forming them by utilizing you both and people around you into disciples. And so it's all discipleship. It's all walking with people. And that is hard. Look at Jesus. What did it cost him? And so for us to be like, this should be easy, like discipleship should be easy of our kids or those out in the world. Like, you kidding me? No. As Tim Keller, I know of nothing good that also comes easily. And I hate that sentence. I want it to be easy.
Totally.
I hate it. I want easy, comfortable, and we need breaks. But yeah, I think, we've gotten really sedate by comfort, our idols of comfort.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Something that I love about you and how you guys parent in discipleship with your kids is it's not a one conversation. I mean, I have heard many conversations with you about how you guys talk to your kids like all day long, pretty much. It's not even like a one conversation every few months. It's like you are talking about it all the time. And I just love that because it's not this random conversation. Like when I hear you talk, you say like, "Yeah, mom, we know what it means." And I just think that I admire that because if our kids aren't saying that, then how is it going to be engraved in their brain, right? If we're like neural pathways, like a habit, like, right, we want them to know it from the like in every part of their being. And so I would love just to like hear, am I right in that you guys do talk about it a lot? Like what does that actual discipleship look like with your
On day to
kids?
day.
Yeah, on a
It's good.
day-to-day basis.
When you say it, are you talking about like human sexuality or are you
Yeah.
talking about just everything? Yeah. I'm realizing I grew up kind of weird. Not just, I have 11 brothers and sisters, so that's weird. But my parents, one gift they gave us was a culture of true belief in Jesus that permeated every part of their lives. And one of my best friends just called that out. She's like, Laurie, that is one big gift that you grew up with. Is it so normal for you to just see Jesus in everything and for him to just be a constant part of your life? And so that, I think, more than being like, oh, I got to have a sexuality conversation now, although sometimes that is true. And I talk to myself and I'm like, you talk about porn. You're talking about porn today. Talk about porn right now. But like, if Jesus is, you're working as a human to always be aware of his presence, you start to see him in everything. And then if you feel the burden of discipling parenting, you're trying to help your kid understand the world in light of that reality. So you see a trans person, you're like, okay, I see this. My instinct is fear. My instinct is, I formed it. I need to help interpret this for my kids. That's my job. And not just in an us versus them, because that's not biblical. I need to help them understand this in light of the gospel. Think. How do I do that? And then barf, conversation.
Yeah.
Love that. So good.
I'm curious, Laura, what can parents do in a moment where they were just thrown something that was really out of the blue and really caught them off guard as far as with sexuality? I had a dad reach out to me recently because his his kiddos in public school, and his kiddo was kind of like he was just talking to another boy in his class, but it was being disruptive. And the teacher said to his son, "Stop flirting with the other classmate." And the kid was really thrown off. And
oh, how old is
he? He was in second or third grade. And so
That's
the
some
teacher,
intense verbiage.
super intense, right? And
Yeah.
the kid actually grew. He like grabs me and threw to the teacher, and his like he was so angry that the teacher was saying he was flirting. And it became a huge thing, right? I mean, the kid went. So what happened was the kid got in trouble for throwing the eraser and got pulled in the principal's office, and then the principal called the parent, was like, "Hey, your kid, threw the eraser," but never told him why he threw the eraser, right? And so the dad ended up sitting down with his kid, was like, "Hey, like, what happened, buddy? Like, why did you throw the eraser?" And then it came out like he was like, "Well, the teacher said I was flirting with so and so," and then everyone was like, "Oh, like, you're flirting, so therefore you're gay," and all this stuff. And he was like really caught off guard. And I'm wondering, that's a really intense story, right? It's really intense. But I think that there's going to be moments in a lot of parents' lives where stuff like this happens. I mean, I'll never forget coming home. I was called gay by this group of boys in junior high. And I came home one day and I was like, "Mom, am I gay?" She was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, everyone calls me that all the time. Everyone is obviously one of those exaggerations.
Yeah.
All the time is obviously an
Yeah,
exaggeration, but that's
right.
what kids do, right? Everyone
They
all the
do.
time calls me gay. Am I gay? And I'm just wondering, like, and thankfully my mom did a really good job, like navigating that moment with me. But I'm wondering if there are parents listening to this going, man, how can I right now start preparing myself to respond well to a moment like that where my kid is questioning something because something happened that was totally external to their own internal struggles. This was not an internal battle, an internal struggle. We were being labeled this by somebody else, whether it be a teacher or a classmate or a
Yeah.
bully, you know, and they come home and they go, oh, I've been called this. What does that mean about me? How would you recommend a parent respond well to something like that?
Ugh, I just want to go up to that kid and you, but your mom handled it well. But to that second and third grader, eight, that is way too sexualized of language to be inceptioning, putting inside of a kid's second and third grade brain.
Yeah.
And then there's also the assumption that that is something that he's wrestling with. Let me give you an example of something very similar that we walked through this week. So, yes, we do talk about it a lot.
I love it.
I was curious. I was like, I never asked him this. I was like, hey guys, do any of your classmates, or if you guys ever had kids, do they talk about rainbow things at school, or do they talk about gay or lesbian? And they're like, no, like they were going to a public school and now they're not. And so I'd hear it when they were at the public school more. But then my oldest, who's 11, she was like, yeah. I was like, what's the yeah? She was like, one of the kids, one of my peers was walking up to all these boys and saying, you gay, bro? That's so gay, bro. You gay? You must be gay. Like over and over and over, which sadly, I'm like, how many of us have heard that? We've all heard that 1,000 times, right? Like you heard a version of that, or you. And I just said it, I mean, I kept it short, but I said, wow, that's really mean. I said, because some people really struggle with that. That I think is such freeing language for our kids. That is that some people really struggle with that. Some boys do struggle with liking boys, and some girls do struggle with liking girls. What I'm saying to my kids in that moment, that tiny little response is, I don't think that's funny. I believe God's design, but in order for me to stand on God's design, I don't need to make fun of people and laugh at them. B, this is something that people do struggle with. I don't know what they're going to wrestle with. None of them have told me any of this. I don't know what their friends are going to wrestle with. A lot of kids make decisions about faith based on how the Christian church responds to LGBTQ questions. Even if they don't wrestle with it, they're watching how we respond to the vulnerable.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, if you struggle with this, if your friends struggle with this, but I'm also saying this is a struggle. This is not something to celebrate. This is something to surrender. We all have stuff we wrestle with. That was a short little window. So how can a parent get that into their arsenal? Is watch our Raising Kids series, is read our book, read another book that you guys think is great. But I have that framework in my head is, here's God's good design. I'm going to love people who are wrestling, and this is a struggle to surrender.
Wow.
Can I further the conversation on that? How did she respond? Like,
what did she say back to you saying that?
So again, we've talked about this a lot. So she's just like, I know. And then my 9-year-old was, because it was all three, 11, 9, and 6. We're all having this conversation. And the reason it's not like above, like too sexualized, because you don't have to explain like gay sex to talk about how to love their neighbor who wrestles with this. So I said, yeah, that's pretty mean. And then my 9-year-old, who's the sassiest among them, she's just like, yeah, you don't walk up to someone and be like, are you gay? Are you lesbian? That's so me. And then the 6-year-old's like, yeah, that's so me. And so that was it. It was just like, we love people in this home.
Yeah.
And we hold to God's design. Can I say one more thing?
Please.
I was thinking about this yesterday. I am baffled that if someone of the opposite sex, if they're sleeping together, we don't have this instinct as Christians to be like, hi, how are you? You know, I don't agree with that. What do you want for dinner? You know, I still think it's a sin. For some reason, when it comes to engaging people who identify as LGBTQ, we have this knee-jerk reaction that if I'm kind to them, I'm affirming. No other sin struggles do we do that with. Like if I know you're wrestling with porn addiction, I love you, stop watching porn. I love you. Do you know I still think porn's wrong? Like we need to get over our knee-jerk having to say that every sentence, because my kids, I find we talk about God's beauty of his design, but we also talk about his love, and talking about his love has never negated for my kids or myself or those I walk with. It's never negated God's good design. So we can release. You don't have to say it every other sentence that you haven't changed your mind on theology.
So powerful. So good.
I think what I keep hearing you say is just so different for me from most of the messaging I've received my whole life. And it's consistently have grace and compassion for the struggle.
Yeah.
And I think that's, if I could just like drive one thing home, I think that's what I hear you keep saying. Am I right? Like most Christians don't have compassion for the struggle. We're really quick to label the behavior as outside of God's design. And that's really like a grace-filled response. Most would say it's evil or it's bad or it's all these things. And I think we're so quick to say those things. But where is the compassion? Where's the compassion? And I think when I even say that, I'm drawn to Jesus loving the prostitute, right? Like he wasn't like, I want you to know your behavior is bad. Like, I want you to know like what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing is evil. You should never sell your body, right? This is like, you don't even see him. It's like, oh, he just grabbed dinner with them. He's eating with them again. He's eating with all the quote unquote sinners of the day. He's being with them, like what you're talking about. There's a lot of being with people who are still living in sin. It didn't say like they left their life of prostitution and then he sat down with dinner to them, right? It was like, oh, he's he's being with them in the midst of their struggle, in the midst of them being broken.
That's so good. It's so true. And it's because he knew who he was. If you know who you are and you know what you believe, you can get close to people who are who are in mess and messiness and dirty, because you're secure. You can get close to the broken if you know who you are, and who you need is Jesus. So I just find the more I am in this conversation, the less anxious I am and the closer I can get to people, because they're not going to persuade me and they're not going to get me messy because I know who I am.
Wow.
So good.
So good.
So good.
Well, Laurie, as we wrap up this episode, obviously we talked about it before, you have these core topics in the resources that you're creating. I would highly recommend anybody listening to this to read the book that they've created, her and Matt, to check out the resources that everything that they are working on. How can everybody get plugged in to what you've created and what you've done, Laurie?
Oh yeah. So you can find my Instagram. That's where I'm posting all the time. But our book, you can find it at lauriekrieg.com or Amazon, Raising Wise Kids in a Sexually Broken World. Or go to centerforfaith.com if you're into video series. We've got our Raising Kids series, and we've got it for young parents of young kids, parents of teenagers, parents of older kids. You can go to, I'll tell you the exact site, christian-sexuality.com. And that's if you want to do it with your small group or something and learn together.
And it's so good.
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah, love the book, love the video series. Our kids are actually watching it with us, and it sparks that conversation. And we're just super, super blessed. I mean, the thing that makes me so grateful for you and also just sad is I just feel like we're so behind on so many conversations that need to be had. Like just it makes me hopeful because we have a resource that we can point people to because of the work that you're so bravely and courageously putting out there. And at the same time, it just makes me sad because it's like the need is so great. And I just wish we had this conversation years ago,
Yeah.
Never.
That is just God's beautiful heart. And where God has called you guys to, it's the same thing. Like, goodness, why don't we have this years ago? But I love that God is the God of restart and
Yeah.
refresh. And so let's start today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so good.
Laura, thanks for being with us again. It has been a joy to have this conversation, and thanks for being on the podcast.
You guys too. You're awesome.